Hello everyone and commanders of Azur and watchers on YouTube. Lucky Mears 205. And now this is a review video of a PR ship from the Iron Blood. Now, as for a PR ship, they are ships that has either no historical records or they have some kind of historical record as a blueprint. And then the other game decided to actually make them playable. And then Azur decided to cooperate with that company and then created a character we have today. And this is Kriegsmarine Large Destroyer Felix Schultz. As for the Felix Schultz, how should I describe this interesting destroyer? I'm gonna put these two sample pictures about Felix Schultz in World of Warships while I edit this video. It is typically a larger destroyer that some of the player base actually recognize her as a light cruiser that is in a destroyer hull and somewhere between. Now, what is the historical records? What I can remember now is Kriegsmarine engineers and designers were planning to improve their destroyers so they can travel longer, farther, and they have 150mm guns. And they are pretty darn big. So they can actually survive better in the very rough seas on the Atlantic Ocean and perhaps in the middle of the Atlantic and going perhaps further beyond, but I don't know. These are just speculations. But that's what Felix Schultz is based on. A large destroyer to travel further and carry 150mm guns, and if I recall correctly, also diesel engines. But that's on the World of Warships, and some historical records and theories and speculations about this ship, but that's all I can remember right now. How is she in the game? Let's start with the simple designs. Well, that's not the face I was actually looking for. Let's start with here. Let's inspect her character design. It's very detailed when you actually first take a look at it. And you can see below, I don't know the flower itself, but I have a feeling I've seen that flower before somewhere. And because she's something like large destroyer, quote unquote, she's also carrying very long, how should I call these? Tiptoe? No? Well, English is a funny word. And something very interesting is that she has horns on her head and also a crown. But her rigging is also very interesting. It's like follows the dragon design, but it has a collar, spiked, and somewhat in chains. But it is very interesting design. I was thinking about like perhaps a dragon or just a closely to dog. But then again, it's nothing closely like that. You can actually find her torpedo tubes just behind there, and also one of her turrets, 150mm guns, atop the Riggin's head. And some reason Felix Schultz is tying her hands behind that cross, and the key is somewhere we don't know. She also seems to have a sharp teeth, like a vampire teeth in comparison. And her clothing is also very long. If you take a closer look again, her design, it is very long clothing. Perhaps that's the reason she has these really long shoes. I don't know, how should I call them? But that's not the saddest part. With what I managed to find, this isn't exactly Felix Schultz's original design. I'm gonna put a few pictures over here, right this moment. Like example, Tormentors of the Week, you can see its design follows the same as we have Felix Schultz right over here. And also all other assault pictures as well. Excuse me. But now these examples I managed to find, it actually shows she was supposed to have a larger oil storage, not smaller ones. And I'm afraid that Felix Schultz released on the where is the information? Now I lost the information where they got the well, she is a priority destroyer. Let me check something real quick just to confirm myself. Now, if you want to find Felix Schultz, she is from PR6. Now, as of what I actually managed to remember, she was planned. Well, she is released in a time where there was the, if I remember this correctly, on PR6 release, well, before it was released. And based on the pictures I am showing right here, she was in a time when destroyers had this peculiar problem, I believe, that, well, we already have destroyers with a decently sized fuel storages or oil storages, whatever you want to call them. And because of this, I believe that this public opinion about the destroyers is the cause about the Felix Schultz design what we have right now. I believe that's the main reason our Felix Schultz now stands like this. But that's all now in the past. It is sad, yes, that her original design had to be changed because of the public opinion about the character designs towards destroyers. And I don't recall, but was it after Felix Schultz there was Mogador and other Royal Navy destroyer that was released alongside with Lion. But these are like destroyers that are more like adults. But yeah, Lion is still new. But anyway, this is unfortunate fate Felix Schultz was born with. Now, how is she in the game? Let's look at her stats. What I'm about to read does not read the same way in the screen. This is all on the Azur wiki. So, once you reach Felix Schultz level 125, her HP is 3,379. Her firepower is 141. As for the destroyer with that amount of firepower, I suspect it must be related to the 150mm guns she carries. She has torpedoes, 356. She has anti-air, 165. Her reload is 220. Her evasion is 218. She has light armor. Speed is 43. Accuracy 225. Because she is PR ship, research ship. She doesn't have luck stat at all, but once you have, she gets only 15. She has anti-submarine weaponry, and that is 213, and oil cost is 11. Now once you reach Ironblood Fleet's technology to the max and beyond, well, stacking more points as more and more Ironblood ships are going to be released in the future, that also affects Felix Schultz's own stats some degree. Also Othin affects as well. As for her weaponry efficiency, she has one destroyer gun. You can either have light cruiser or destroyer gun. If you have this only this specific twin 150mm TPUT-SK C42T main gun. That is a destroyer main gun for Ironblood destroyers that can actually carry 150mm guns like Jet 23. So, what this gun gives us? When equipped by a DD, all the ship's armor damage modifier increased by 15%, and this fires AP. And, funny fact included, once you reach out the skills and upgrade the skills, it seems her efficiency on the main gun slot goes 180%. However, her torpedo stat and efficiency is only 120%, and her anti-air is surprisingly lacking, 85% efficiency. She doesn't have Augment module yet, but it's only a matter of time. Somewhere in the future, perhaps. I believe she doesn't get one at all. But, in my opinion, dual swords. She has firepower and evasion. Total of 25 and 15. She gets performance hydraulic steering gear and auxiliary super rare pure oxygen torpedo type 93. Now for her skills. Tormentor of the Week. It says as following. This one is upgraded. Fate Simulation. Increases this ship crit rate by 15% and crit damage by 30%. Every 20 seconds fires level 10 special barrage. Damage is based on the skill level. Increases this ship damage dealt by 15% to enemies hit by this barrage. If this ship has light cruiser main gun equipped, increases this ship's main gun efficiency by 10%. Reduces the activation interval of this special barrage to 10 seconds and fires this barrage once 3 seconds after the battle starts. So there comes the extra 10% to main gun efficiency. Kinda points out that Felix Schultz is supposed to be Ironblood's pure main gun destroyer. Now with the light cruiser main gun equipped, she can actually do very well. Now for her defensive skill. Drown in the Abyss of Desire. Increases this ship evasion by 18% and decreases her damage taken by 18%. Decreases the speed of this ship's torpedoes by 1 and increases their damage dealt by 20%. When the battle starts and every 10 seconds deploys a shield. Lasts 5 seconds, can block up to 5 shells, secondary shells. If this shield expires or is destroyed, increases this ship's evasion rate by 8% until this shield is deployed again. If this ship has an AP gun equipped, increases this ship damage dealt to light cruisers and heavy cruisers by 15%. Now this is where you want to have AP firing light cruiser gun. You really want to benefit from this one. Now, because she is PR ship, she gets Siren Killer. Increases this ship damage to sirens by 15%, meaning she is very useful in Operation Siren, as long as the enemy is the siren and not the pawns of other factions. She gets the All-Out Assault. Activates All-Out Assault 2, Felix Schultz, once every 10 times the main guns are fired. If this ship has light cruiser main gun equipped, reduces the shot requirement to 4, meaning this is very efficient barrage. Thanks to the way how she was built and designed. As for the fleet, oh, of course, I almost forgot. She gets skin. Sweet, sleepy, revenge. This also is a very interesting skin, I have to admit. But because how she was affected by the problem about the destroyers and the oil storage sizes, this is now how she looks. But I'm fine with it. For now. Oh, because she has very low anti-air, I gave her prototype quadruple 30mm AA gun. It fires decently fast, well, decently fast. I could give her something more fast firing, like prototype 55mm Gerät, or keep this one. Or if I really want to go crazy, twin 47mm L60 Bofors. Irish Orthodoxy, anti-air gun. If I want. But why should I actually point out this interesting behavior of her torpedoes? Is because in main game, the World of Warships, the entire Elbing line torpedoes are meant to be slow, but because they are slow, they have long range and they hit harder compared to any other German torpedo. So that's the game why Felix Schultz has really slow torpedoes. Now then, what about the fleet season? First off, I was planning to use Rune on front, Hindenburg behind, Crash Zeppelin to reduce damage taken, Bismarck to increase critical damage, crit rate and reload, and something more and more. Let me just take this out just in case. Main gun, torpedo, crit rate and their reload. As for the Admiral Zenger, if this ship is a flagship, increases your vanguard's evasion and reload by 8% and your main fleet's firepower and accuracy by 8%. So Vanguard benefits evasion and reload by 8%. And with the Bismarck's skill added, there's 20% perhaps extra reload. So we are actually packing a punch. Now then, let's put this long review aside and move officers too. Let's go to the review and my final opinions about Felix Schultz. Hello everyone, voiceover Lucky Mies over here. And yes, perfection. What is perfection about her? Well, she's not just a perfect gunboat from the Iron Blood, but she's also very, let's just say, interesting ship girl. Now, what is my opinions about it? Well, before I actually go to my full opinion, I actually think I forgot to mention that she has 2 torpedo tubes and 1 anti-air. And what else did I forgot to mention in that long review section? Now, I actually managed to find out what type of personality she has. There are 2 types. One says that she is arrogant, prideful and smug. She usually hides her shyness by acting all high and mighty. Another information says impish, seductive and somewhat sadistic. If I actually read all the quotes, no, well, I didn't do proper research about this subject, but if all that is true, then perhaps he really is. But that's on my future self problem. Not today. As for her combat performance, well, in this video background, unfortunately, map 14 is not perhaps well suited to actually showcase the shipgirl's full potential, who actually relies on pure firepower and torpedo hit ratio. And when it comes to PR ships and we have this luck stat, that also balances some PR ships' performance, starting from 0 and then slowly raising to 15. That also affects Felix Schultz's performance in map 14, because everything over there is in quote dark, and you need flare and lighthouse to see your enemies to actually do some proper damage. And also, she can do some really good damage once you have correct fleet, correct build-up, and also a right map where you want to use this ship. Let's not forget, Ironblood heavily lacks on anti-air, and Felix Schultz, despite having 85% efficiency, but he also has some really interesting anti-air stat. But as usual from the Ironblood, they tend to lack that. So having map 13 and 15 to make this background footage, probably not the wise idea. Anyway. Excuse me. If you have access to grind Felix Schultz, don't let anything stop you, just go full into the Felix Schultz and build her properly, because she is really good destroyer offered on the island from the Ironblood. As for her main gun, I also recommend grinding that thing, because if you build enough, you can actually give them to the Z-class destroyers. And because Felix Schultz is part of Ironblood destroyers, she is also recognized as a sister to Jet 1, which means she gets Jet 1's buffs. But Jet 1 isn't the only one, there's also Jet 20... was it 6? The other one who also Jet 28. Correction. Jet 28 also has this interesting buff, which says as following: increases firepower and accuracy by 10% and AA by 15% for your jet class destroyers. That sort of sounds really good, but what about Jet 1, the big sister of all destroyers of the Ironblood? Jet Vanguard increases this ship reload and accuracy by 40% and increases your jet class destroyers firepower, evasion and AA by 40%. So you definitely want to use Jet 1 to get some extra firepower, evasion and AA by 40%. But as usual, on the Jet 1 side, she tends to sink really fast. So bringing her to map 14 also is kind of a risky move, so that's why I made a fleet like this. That really suits somewhat decently a map like this. But all that, what else I can actually think about that Felix Schultz? Well, she is really good on PvP. Believe it or not, if you build a decent Destroyer Vanguard and you find enemy fleet that contains light cruisers and heavy cruisers, she can do damage on them. And with the other shipgirls buffing her and the Vanguard, she is packing a punch. And I'm not joking, if properly built, she works on PvP. Also in Operation Siren, so don't miss on that too. If you are Ironblood fan, of course this is top priority. Now, also Jet 11 is also optional. She too gives more extra stats to the Felix Schultz. But then I guess, well, that's oddly put. I guess I have nothing else to say. She is a really good destroyer offered by Ironblood. A pure gunboat. Before I end this video, which ended up to be hilariously long, what if in the future we are gonna get Elbing from the World of Warships? If we are gonna get the Elbing, what type of gunboat she is going to be? With the Felix Schultz and Elbing together, and perhaps Jet 11 or 28 or Jet 1, giving them some more buff, and the Iron and the Bismarcks over there, and some perhaps Senker too. I'm looking forward to if you're ever gonna get Elbing on the future. That might be really interesting indeed. But that's just me rambling about a perhaps potential new gunboat from the Ironblood. Also, Felix Schultz is really tanky. She's a large destroyer, of course. And the data and the information what I actually thought about her history, well, I highly recommend that you do your own research as well about Felix Schultz as well from the World of Warships side, and what they say about her origin. Because there is a possibility that I actually managed to forgot something. I believe we have now come to the end on this review video about Felix Schultz. If you have the opportunity to use her, go all in. She is worth it. And perhaps, who knows, we will get something more interesting about Felix Schultz in the future. I also forgot she also appears in the Azur Lane Slow Ahead manga. Bisoku Zenshin. Is it pronounced? Well, Slow Ahead. I actually recommend reading that series as well. And there you can actually see more of Felix Schultz's personalities. Now I think I have rambled enough. I mentioned everything I wanted to say about this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see more of this type of content, subscription is one thing. If you want to just support, hitting like button also does the work for the YouTube algorithm shenanigans. And if you have Felix Schultz, and what is your opinions about her? Leave your comments down below. My name is LuckyMias205. Thank you so much for watching, and I wish you good wins. And, oh, I almost forgot. Take care of yourself and you shipgirls. And see you next time.